Emergency cash is on the way. Today, we'll break it down to you, why this matters to the markets. Let's just jump right into it. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is Tangem. And when I talk about getting out of exchanges right now, guys, you should be definitely doing that. Take a look at starting to move and diversify, get into self-custody. This is one of the ways you can do it by joining the Tangem crowd. And the way to do that is just visit tangem.com. You can get into the most secure wallet out there for a hardware crypto wallet. Works with both Android and iPhone. This, of course, is where you can hold all your assets, including things like even tokenized gold. Very easy to set up, and setting it up is only a 3-minute task for you. If you're brand new to crypto, this is your first check to get into crypto, and that is hold some of your assets right there on self-custody. Let's get into it today. I want to lead off with a Politico story that kind of broke the issue around funding the war in Iran. Here it is. Johnson, of course, comes in and says Congress will pass an Iranian war funding when it is appropriate. They're talking about $50 billion right there, guys. I'll zoom in on this a little bit. $50 billion. We'll pass a supplement when it's appropriate, and we can get it right. And then we're nowhere close to that right now, is what Scalise has said. And then, of course, we have Bloomberg coming in right behind it. The defense industry is expecting $50 billion in a package to boost munitions. If you look at this right here, the defense industry officials basically are expecting the Pentagon to request supplemental funding as soon as Friday to shore this up. And then, of course, gets into munitions, stockpiles, et cetera, around what's going on in Iran, which means this Friday, you are going to see some changes. If this does go through, this means the Fed is definitely going to be on the front line to print. And the other thing that's hitting right now is Senate Republicans vote down the legislation to halt the war in Congress. It's the first vote on the conflict. You look at this right here. Senate Republicans voted down the effort on Wednesday to halt President Trump's war against Iran, demonstrating early support for a conflict that is rapidly spread across the Middle East. I think this is going to be very impactful on the market in general with this kind of thing happening in DC, especially around everything that's going on at this time. I want to play a clip because this looks like all of this may be dead and buried in terms of this particular initiative out of DC. Take a look.
Is the thing dead now? Is it dead and buried, Senator?
Well, this one's dead and buried. Now, if we go into Cuba or go somewhere else, they'll bring that up. But they want to tell the President of the United States whether he can start a conflict or defend the American people or the American people abroad. It's just absolutely amazing. They want 535 commanders-in-chief. That's all we need up here. We need one person. We got Donald Trump. Let him make the decisions. He's done a great job, going to do a great job, and he's going to make a lot of difference in our country and the world.
He's doing a hell of a job. You are so right, sir. He's changing history. He's changing the whole world balance of power in favor of the United States.
All right, so if you look at that statement, it is clear there's not going to be much pushback if the Republicans have anything to do with it right now. If you look at the poly market, Congress passes Iran war powers resolution by March 31st. Not a chance. This is coming in at almost nothing right now, 3.9% opportunity. Even Bernie Sanders, he comes in, defends against this as well. He basically says, hey, Pentagon just got nearly $1 trillion. You're asking for another $500 billion coming in. Now he wants even more money for a war he started in Iran without congressional approval. You can see the two sides are very far apart. This will result in a volatile market. Now, whether we see this happening in risk assets, Bitcoin, if we see this happening in gold or the S&P 500, all of this is going to roll down into what you and I are going to be dealing with going forward. Other things that are going to happen here, of course, is the price of oil. This is another issue that will affect the interest of inflation. And of course, it's going to affect you and everyday Americans in a big way. Strait of Hormuz traffic is effectively down to zero right now. Now, get it. I understand many of you are going to probably push back and say, wait a minute, Trump has got a solution for that. He actually did come out and say that the Navy would be doing escorts. And they also backed up the fact that Lloyd's of London had pulled out of insuring the Strait of Hormuz, and that is now being done by the International Development Finance Corporation, which is basically going to take the position of Lloyd's of London. So if they keep the free flow of oil going through, that will take some of the edge off of the markets. But in general, if you look at the markets right now, Brent oil has surged to 82.50 a barrel. This is 20% since January, so in the last 30, 40 days. You need to watch oil prices. This will be a big deal because it could create a lot of market volatility. Other things you got to look at right here is comparisons that we saw back here in the lows back in June of 2020, where oil and gas, I should say, was around $1.96. That, of course, skyrocketed up to $5 a gallon in 2 years, just 2 years, guys. So this is a big deal because we have been on a slide down. So Trump's position of getting affordability back to Americans, he is now definitely fracturing that contract with American voters. And we are in a mess with Iran, whether you like it, you don't like it. The key here is it's going to affect a market. It's going to affect Americans. And I think it's going to affect pocketbooks in a big way. You look around the globe, you've got the Japanese setting up for this because they are also setting up their oil refineries, which have asked the government to release oil from national reserves. All of this during this Middle Eastern tensions. You've got the Chinese jumping in on this. The government has told the country to get its oil refiners on the move to suspend exports of diesel and gasoline. So they're basically a hoard around crude oil, at least until this is dealt with. And I want to play a clip because this will get into some more detail on where this could go in terms of an effect on the stock market. Take a look.
I think it's going to get a lot worse for stock markets before the weekend. I'm not a geopolitical expert, so I'm pretty simple about this. The three main protagonists, the US, Iran, and Israel, have all been consistent that they are planning to keep on attacking for some time. The US and Iran have both denied that there are any talks going between them, or that they want any talks. And Israel has never wanted any negotiations either. So there are no negotiations happening, and all are planning to continue conflict. Now, I know things can change quickly, but I think assuming the conflict might end quickly is just, I don't know where that's based on, just doesn't seem to be any evidence at all for that.
This could get into a snowball, guys. And this is how a lot of these major conflicts go further and further and further as we start to edge forward. I'm a little bit leery of how this plays out. You look at right now the impact on Americans, and we're already seeing very extensive issues taking place. A record number of American workers now are pulling money out of their 401ks just to cover financial emergencies. This is not a good thing. When you have U.S. citizens who are already dealing with high inflation, dealing with job loss, and now we've got a war that possibly is going to inject more price increases in the American economy in one of the biggest areas, and that, of course, is going to be gas prices. Trump has been touting gas prices going down forever. Well, that just changed. I want to go to another clip. This is Bloomberg, and they're assessing how the Fed is going to react. Take a look.
So I think the question is, obviously, when Russia invaded Ukraine, it sent a commodity shockwave all around the world. And I was go back a few years, I was on Team Transitory, which said, hey, I think that this inflation that's coming out of the pandemic won't be that bad and will be short-lived. Obviously, we adjusted that view. That was not the right call, and we raised rates aggressively, in part because of that commodity shockwave. That was one of the contributing factors for why inflation got so high. But now if you fast forward a few years, when Hamas attacked Israel, I was ready for a commodity shockwave that didn't come. And so now the question I think that we are wrestling with and markets are wrestling with is, how long is this going to last? How bad is it going to get? Is it going to look more like Russia, Ukraine, or is it going to look more like Hamas attacking Israel? And that's going to have effects on monetary policy.
Well, he is right. They were wrong around the transitory side of inflation. And I don't know if you can really kind of lean on them at this point. But the point is that you look at the length of how long this could last. The U.S. and the Iran ceasefire right now, if you look at Polymarket, it looks like it's pretty well vetted out through the end of June, possibly the end of May. But this is not going away quick. And the longer it takes, because we're a week in and we're talking about 50 bill, what happens at 6 weeks in, 12 weeks in, 20 weeks in? This is going to get expensive and get expensive fast, especially when you look at the kind of munitions and things that are happening. Politico kind of hits on it right here. Inside the Trump administration scrambled to support its own war right now. There's a couple of points to really kind of hit on. Let me zoom in on this for you guys. U.S. CENTCOM basically said it's asking the Pentagon to send more military intelligence officers to its headquarters in Tampa. This is to support the operations that are happening for at least another 100 days. So think about that right there, at least another 100 days, but likely through September. This would go literally up to the midterms. This is bad, I think, for the Republicans. It's bad for the administration. I think Trump has got to get some handles on this pretty quickly. When you look at West Texas crude right now, 13-month high. Inflation about to really run hot. I agree with Ted on this one. This is going to get where it becomes a little bit more nasty. And then you have more pain coming in from the crypto markets, and that is now IRS is proposing allowing crypto exchanges to deliver tax forms electronically, meaning everything you're doing over on your crypto exchange basically is automatically sent over to the IRS. Interesting stuff out there right now, guys. Not a good time. One good news is that Kristi Noem just got fired. She's out. The Kristi Noem, and look at this. This was like at a 14% chance just a couple of days ago. And here we are blasting through, and she is gone. As you can see right here on NBC, Noem is considering firing, or it should be, Trump is considering firing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, meaning she's done. She's out, and the poly market, I think, is on it. Another thing that is good for clarity is this statement right here. This is the pending executive order under regulatory review. This just happened on a couple of days ago. And what it does is it gives the commission this interpretation on application for federal securities law containing crypto assets, certain transactions, all on crypto. If you look at some of the details of this, and I think this is clear, is that the SEC isn't waiting for the Clarity Act. They must be fed up. I agree. They're going to introduce token taxonomy that classifies crypto assets under existing securities law. Okay. And if Congress can't pass the market structure, which I think they will, I think it's coming through now that Noem is out of the way because we won't have, a handful of congressmen over there holding it hostage due to what's happening over with Noem and ICE. But if Congress can't pass this, it would allow the firms to at least register, comply, and operate. So there might be a middle ground here if clarity does not go through. So just be aware. Yes, it looks very solid. Trump's behind it now and all that, but we're still sitting at 71%. After Donald Trump literally throws a gauntlet down and tells the banks to shut up, and we only go to 70%. Something else is brewing here, guys, in D.C., so keep an eye on it. Here we go, guys. Yes, I think you got to be very careful this weekend. We could see a very atrocious Friday coming in, so be cautious in the markets. We'll continue to report on this. The situation is very volatile right now. It's going to be interesting. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.